second.
This is the BAM Podcast with Malcolm Springer.
Today is going to be a good one because I got my two sons here, Sib and Isaac, my two buck boys.
That's right.
We're starting a Springer. You know, I tell them all the time I'm the wisest man to ever live since King Solomon. That's a good thing to tell your kids, remind them who dad is. But anyway, of course, they laugh at me because it is pretty funny if you think about it. I mean, some of the stuff I say is pretty.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. I remember back in the day, we wanted to make a book that said that was called "Shit That Dad Says." Yeah. And I had a whole bunch of stuff in it, and one of them. I had a whole bunch of sayings that you said in it. One of them was along the lines of, you were yelling one day, and you were angry at someone, and you were yelling, and you threatened to send him a dead goat. That was one of the things. I'd sit here and yell and stuff, but I got the mic right up to my face, so.
You do it? I got a better mic stand.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I just don't want to breathe in it.
Okay.
No, I thought it was pretty funny the other day. We were just riding around the apartment complex, and you already knew what Dad was about to say, and you just started on that lady.
Yeah, what I said. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was
that was pretty good right there.
Yeah. There's some typical things about me, you know, that definitely. I definitely wouldn't. You know, wind up in court or anything if people heard it, but they may not think I'm a very good person for saying it.
Yeah, it's usually in anger and jest. It's almost always in jest. Almost always in jest.
Somebody told me, I would put GoPros up in my, maybe it's you, son, put GoPros up in my car and just forget that they're on. When the car turns on, they turn on. And they film me every single time after, a month or so. Mm-hmm. You can put all that together. The shit that I say, especially when I'm on the phone with people too.
Oh man!
If there was one pointing on the outside of the car and your reaction to it at the same time,
someone needs to do it without even telling you though. Just like put it in there secretly and.
I mean, it's man. I'll say some crazy shit to people. That's for sure. But you know what though? Most of it is because I give some analogies. I know guys that's pretty weird.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
but they make sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes they make sense. Whenever they do make sense, they're hilarious. Whenever they don't make sense, they're hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Way.
Well, that's like when a singer's in here, man, and we've taken 2 or 3 passes, and I'm like, I'll come in here, I'll hear that he's overthinking it, because he sang real good on the first 2 passes, all of a sudden 3, because I say enunciate your words better, all of a sudden he's like thinking about freaking some kind of quantum physics project to sing or something. I gotta go around the fucking world to get to here. Oh, I forgot the world's flat. But yeah, I gotta go around this big hill to get to this spot to sing. So I come in here and I tell the same story every time, and Jackson can tell you. I go, man, back in the day, I had this hunting dog named Amos. And man, he was a badass. I didn't appreciate him, and I really didn't. Because I was just a little boy, I was like 10, 11 years old. I'm walking around with shotguns shooting rabbits, and I got, and Amos is my dog, and that son bitch was awesome. Like he would run a rabbit, man, and he keep rabbits running, and we get in the thick of them, and I would just hear him on the other side of this thicket or whatever we were hunting at, and man, he'd always run them right by me. And I was bam. He knew I was a kid. He knew everything.
Yeah.
And we were hunting one day behind Grandma's house, and on that fence road back there where those trees were, and I'm sitting there, and the ditch was up pretty high, the creek was, and he's just pacing back and forth. He's like whining and stuff. I'm like, well, go get him then. And he takes off across that thing swimming. The rabbit is on the other side. I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was just amazing. He smelt that rabbit from over there, went over there, jumped him up. I shot him. He picks the rabbit up, swims back across, and puts it right back at my feet. And I went,
wow.
Boy, you are the smartest dog. I've never seen anything like it. At the time, I didn't realize that there was this show coming out called Men in Black, and dogs were aliens. I think he was an alien.
Hey, dogs might be aliens.
But anyway, I tell that story in big long story like that, and then the singer looks at me and go, okay, let's get a good take here. And they're like, well, that was it. I mean, yeah, man, that was it. That was what, He gets a take every time, doesn't it, Jackson?
Yeah,
because they know what I'm doing. They know that, well, man, should I slur my S's, or should You know, it's like, dude, sing the fucking song, man. Come on.
I remember you telling random stories, well, what I thought were random stories back in the day to get singers to
You know,
get out of their mind.
sometimes I have it in the past. So a lot of times I, always tell the gasoline story about your grandpa Springer, and I mean, you know the gasoline story, don't you?
I don't know if I do or not.
I do, pretty sure.
Well, I'll tell you on the podcast.
Okay.
Because
It's pretty good.
it changed my life, but I didn't listen enough. But I did realize what the world was at this time, this moment. And I was 10, and they had bought us some Grandpa Springer, and my mom and dad always had us freaking badass dirt bikes to ride around in. And then we had a big farm, so we rolled around. And you guys know how I am. I'm going way to hell where I'm not supposed to go and come. I got some trouble over that one. But anyway, we had a big barn. And now you remember the barn, don't you? The big ass barn. Oh, yeah. A big ass barn we had behind Grandma's house. Well, so during the summer, here it is, summer break. And I remember it was pretty dang hot out there. But I remember we'd only been out of school for like a couple weeks, Well, here I am. I'm riding a dirt bike around the farm and everything, and I see this is in the morning time, probably late morning, about 11, 12, but in the morning, but 11 in the morning, whatever. So I saw this car that would stop between, how my house and Grandma's house was.
Yep.
They were a quarter mile from each other because that's how I got good at being a quarter man in track was I ran that all the time. But there was a car stop between there, and so I was like, okay, well, me being me, I'm going to go see if I can help them, So I ride down there at 10 years old. I'm going to help them, all right. Well, get down there, this man, he's like, well, I ran out of gas. I'm like, okay, well, I can give you a little gas to get to town. I thought surely that wouldn't take but a gallon,
Right.
So I go down there and I get the gas can, and it was full. 5 gallon, man, that thing was tough. I was sitting there doing like this. I'll never forget it because I was, oh man, I'm gonna make it with this thing. It was so heavy. Well, he turned us on. So what happened was when I got there, when I had a funnel, took him a funnel, and I had a funnel in my back pocket. It was on a Honda RX-7. It was a Honda 75. Yeah. Anyway, cool dirt bike, really cool dirt bike. I love that dirt bike. So anyway, get down there and he pours the whole dang 5 gallon can in this car. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, And I was like, he said, well, let me tell you something. I'm going to go ahead and take the can with me. And tonight, before the sun comes down, I'm going to be coming back through here. And I'm going to fill your tank up and give you your gas can back. And I thought, okay, that sounds fair enough. Why wouldn't he? He lived in Risco, is what he said. And Risco, our place was between Risco and Portageville, and it made sense. So I went riding the rest of the day, doing my thing as a kid. It's summertime. I'm riding bikes. I'm riding my dirt bike everywhere. And, well, that night. Or that afternoon, dinner, I guess it was afternoon, about 5 or 6 o'clock, we sat down and we started eating dinner. And Grandpa was acting kind of weird, Your grandpa was just a straight up guy. He was an absolute best man I've ever met in my life. I mean, he really was a good man. But he wasn't saying much. Mm-hmm. I'd forgotten all about the gas can, right? I forgot all about it. Well, so it was a weird vibe then I didn't know what vibes were, but that's what it was. It was a weird vibe at dinner, so... and Mackie, he's, bitching about something as usual. You know how he is. His tutu got hurt, poo-poo got hurt, whatever. So anyway, his dirt bike was tore up or something. I forgot what he did. But anyway, so I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, Grandpa got up from the table and went outside. I thought that was kind of weird because usually he goes in there and he listens to the news and how much the beans are getting booked for right now and the wheat's getting booked for, making sure he's going to book them for the highest spot, because harvest is going to be coming in about 2-3 months and we just got to plan. Well, anyway, so he's out, and I went to Grandma. I said, what's wrong with Grandpa? Grandma, and he said, why don't you go out there and talk to him? I said, okay. I remember the gas can. So he's out there. Let me tell you, this is exactly how he was. He had his hat, tipped down, and he was staring at that barn. Well, that's where we kept the gas can.
Yeah.
He's just staring at it. He's smoking a cigarette, and he's just staring at the barn. So I come beside him, I looked up at him, I'm like, "What's wrong, Grandpa?" He goes, "Malcolm." Didn't look at me one bit. Never looked at me. He said, "Where is the gas can?" So I explained to him that I was helping this guy, and he told me he's going to have the gas here by dark. Mm-hmm. And the katydids are just roaring away, boys. I'm talking like the sun is about down. And I knew right then. He said, "There wasn't nobody going to bring no gas can back." And Grandpa never looked at me. And he goes, "Son, you're going to meet people like that your whole life. Always bring back the gas." But that old boy, he ain't bringing back the gas. He never did.
Yeah.
I learned a lesson. But you're going to meet people like that your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But your grandpa was full of wise things like that. But he really was a wise man. Maybe he was wiser than me next to King Solomon. But I'm next to Grandpa Springer. So I want a son. Sib. If I say son, y'all, both sons. I do have a habit of that. I'm sorry I have so many sons.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because God wanted me to pass along the family bloodline.
That's right.
That's right. Because my sons are badass, And,
There you go.
Well, my daughters are too. But, I got sons to carry on the family name. But anyway, that's beside the point. Got to dig a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so, all right, son. What are you talking about these damn Tennessee license plates? What's going on?
Okay, so
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, for all Tennesseans out there, I actually saw this via TikTok. I don't get on TikTok, but I get on Reddit, and it was one of the, and this is pertinent to Tennessee. And it was one of the most upvoted. It was one of the top posts or whatever. And it was this chick
Talking to my
Oh yeah, and it was this chick talking about this lady talking about. She was very mad about it, but. Whenever you buy a new Tennessee license plate now, you have the choice between two options. That doesn't cost more because there's one that says "Don't tread on me" that costs $100 extra or whatever. But the two base ones are these new blue ones, And if you look real closely around the Tennessee TriStar crest or circle, whatever, some of them say "In God We Trust," and some of them don't. Because you have a choice between "In God We Trust" and "Not in God We Trust." So this girl...
What?
Yes. So, yep. So those are your two choices. You could choose with or without "In God We Trust," right? So that's not so much a big deal. Except for... And it still may not be a big deal. But this lady or this girl either found out herself or through other means. If you look... You don't have to look carefully. The license plates that start... Or sorry, that have "In God We Trust" on them start with numbers. The ones that don't start with letters. So that makes me think two things. Either they're trying to make it to where the people that have "In God We Trust" on their license plates show up before people that don't on like DMV records or whatever, giving them the benefit because we live in a super conservative state. Or it's to see which counties are the most godly. So they're like they're like to because
that's crazy.
Isn't it odd that we have the choice between "In God We Trust" and we don't, and those are the two options we have, and it just seems like an odd way to like I don't know if it's like profile. Yeah,
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, like
almost
sorting.
like they're trying to separate who believes in God and who don't.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Like they're trying
Something
to
like
sort it.
that.
I think that Eric Baker is right about people's lives, because I remember, I forgot what it was, but Sib came up with something crazy, but it was crazy as flat earth. But it was pretty crazy. I remember it. I went, "Eric, man, why the hell would my son think he like that?" And he goes, because in his simulation, that's real. And neither one of you are wrong, because how you work your simulation is a way of it. Now, I tried to talk to Jason about the simulation quite a bit. I could tell he was trying to dodge it. Didn't you think he was dodging it a little bit?
Yeah.
Here we are talking about it. We love you, Jason, because he's a good man. He really is a good man.
I mean, I think if it is a simulation, I think it's one like nobody understands. You know what I mean? It's something way more advanced than what we can even comprehend.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
for sure.
If it is a simulation.
For sure. It's not within our words.
And even if it's not a simulation, you could probably sit there and say it is a type of simulation.
Well, we're in 2022, guys, and we can literally make up an entire world, never ending, in a computer ourselves and be the god of that world. And that's now. So think about another 1,000 years from now. The capability. Will man become, godlike or whatever, but they'll die. I mean, won't live forever, and they're not in the Alpha and Omega and all that stuff. But I don't even think people understand that. Matter of fact, I know people don't understand that because I don't understand that. How can something exist that always was? So this is directed at you there, Isaac.
Yep, here we go.
My son, that's a but he's
I'd call myself an in-betweener.
He's
like
expanding
a
his
football
mind and thinking about things now, and I did too at that age. Most of my mind was on Tater and music, and raising him. But, the Tater's what got me raising him. I mean, that's what got me in trouble.
Makes sense.
But no, it wasn't like that at all. It was just one of those life things. Meet a beautiful woman and have a kid with her. There you go. Okay, so did we land on the moon?
No.
Really? You don't think we landed on the moon at all?
There's no way.
So what are you?
I really don't think there's no way.
Time out.
Figure out why.
He says no way. So let's hear what you got to say.
I want to know your top 3 reasons at least.
I just have one reason to believe this so strongly, and to me, it just makes all the sense in the world. Okay,
go ahead.
So whenever they first came out with the first iPad, iPhone, okay, it was obviously a lot less advanced than what we got right here, right? Okay, and so you look at everything, okay? Everything over the years have upgraded. Slowly but surely, keep upgrading. So when did we land on the moon, supposedly? The
68?
69.
69.
69.
This was the summer of 69.
Okay, so we did that in 69. But yeah, we still have so much trouble getting to the moon. Like, we can't even get to the moon today.
Do you know why
who's
that
telling
is?
you that, though?
NASA says that.
Yeah.
NASA says that it's harder to get to the moon nowadays, and I believe that the reason, isn't it, and I could be wrong, Isaac, is it because there's something different with the ozone layer, the atmosphere now?
I don't know. To me, it really doesn't make sense how we got there.
You know what I think it is, Isaac?
Okay, it's time to start working, buddy. Pull up, type in, does NASA say it's harder to get to the moon now? Because I think that's all horseshit.
I don't think they even go to space hardly anymore.
Isaac.
So this is what I think.
So you think the president started a space force for there not to be a space force?
You're telling me that they can go into a ship and go into space at any time they want right now?
Yeah, of course.
I think so.
See, I think they should be able to if we really did go to the moon. But, I mean, there's just not no videos of us just...
I definitely see your point.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no videos.
I've seen a ton of videos of us landing on the moon.
And
they were real.
What I'm trying to
shitty.
say is, though, we have these old videos of big old rocket flying up to the moon, right?
Right.
So by now, wouldn't you think there'd be something that looks a little bit more advanced? You know what I mean? Because think about how long of a time
like the
frame
space.
that is.
Well,
the
okay,
space
I
shuttle?
understand what you're saying there. I have a point to make on this one because I don't have a point to make on a lot of this. I don't have a point to make on a lot of it. But so I've heard this argument, like what it seems very primitive to just attach like a rocket to a piece of metal and shoot it up in the air.
Yeah.
But that's what we know about propulsion right now, and this is not me defending it, by the way, because I do think it's very odd that I think NASA's website says this. It gives some kind of explanation as to why it's harder to travel to space now. So I'm not trying to say...
Is that something, Jackson, that you can find on the internet?
Interesting.
No
Yeah, okay,
point going back.
so taking that or what you're saying, Isaac, I think that's NASA going... it's either one of two things. It's either back then... men had bigger balls. Hopefully, we don't have to bleep that. And they were like, let's go to the fucking moon. It's badass. Like no man has been to the moon. Let's go. And nowadays, that bite and NASA, they just have a different. What's it called? Goal, different mission statement. Agenda. There you go. Okay. And it's absorbed up by the military industrial complex. Is one of the reasons I think they don't get any money for going to the moon. they get zero money, but starting a new war, maybe. I don't know if I can talk about that.
Okay, well, as soon as y'all get done, I'm gonna tell you why we didn't go back to the moon lately.
Well,
No point. That's it.
You can go ahead. Go ahead.
The reason why is because if you listen to Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and they're going, there's a thing because they had a private channel for NASA, and the world couldn't hear them talking.
Okay.
And a guy captured the freaking thing. So I'm gonna stop after this. I'm gonna get you another mic stand.
It's not even the mic stand. It's just me fidgeting, really.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
You're good.
That thing's anyway.
You're good.
And Neil Armstrong says, and you can look it up. You can hear it. They're on the crater looking at us right now. They're looking dead at us. And Buzz goes, "Well, they are. I see them too." Okay. What are we supposed to do, NASA? What's our position here? And NASA came back. It's their position, not yours. In other words, they knew they were there. They told us, get the fuck off the moon because that's their territory.
Who the aliens?
Well, if you won't call them aliens, if you won't call them what they are, that's in the Bible, they're the watchers. But everybody laughs about it, but it's true. I mean, but you can see structures on the moon. But that's fake, too. Oh, here's my question, guys, and I don't want to stir him. I'm going to get him ruffled up now because I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this for a while. Okay, so here I am. I'm a 17-year-old high school student, straight A's, Camelua or whatever. I'm the man. Okay. I beat everybody in my 1,000 people in my high schools I'm graduating with, and I'm number one. So this school named MIT, they give me a full ride. And I got a full ride, and my goal is to work for NASA. About hundreds of thousands of kids, that's their goal. They want to work for NASA. Yeah. Okay, so he goes, I get my dang degree, man. Ace college are crazy. Took me only 7 years while I took everybody else 9 years. I have 2 freaking doctorate degree. I am the man. I got a freaking pecker longer than a goddamn bus. And I'm going to MIT, okay? And I get there, and they go, man, what work you did? Man, where's partying over here? Where's actors? But listen, you're going to go to acting school, and you're going to act here at NASA. You got to make the world think you're a real scientist. Now, don't you think somebody would have told somebody by now?
No, because
good God,
what they would do
good
is,
God. So you're saying the MIT? You say the MIT students
I need
get
it? 30
okay,
seconds.
Go ahead.
30-second timeout. So if I'm in that position and I go study all these years about space and stuff, I go work for NASA, and I get there and they're like, okay, here's the deal. They're like, do you for sure want to be hired? Okay, I signed the waiver. They're like, okay. So here's what's actually happening, and if you tell anybody what's actually happening, first we're going to kill your first kid, and then we're going to kill your second kid, and then we're going to kill your wife. Do you think anybody's going to say anything?
Well, okay.
I don't.
I do think...
There's a lot of people who don't have kids or relatives.
I think y'all both are scraping on truth because I do think that people go work for the FBI and they're like, hey, there's one thing about treason, we'll hang you, but we'll go after your family too. There's good reasons. And I think that if you go into a clandestine organization and you don't expect that to some degree, then you're kind of dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you probably aren't tough enough to do it anyway.
So you're saying a physics doctor of physics, a doctor of astrology is getting out and going somewhere and they're telling him that he doesn't.
No. I think they're doing this. I think that they get these people, and I think you're both right in a way because I think they get them, and instead of saying that, they say, hey, this is for the good of science. If we don't beat the Russians to space, then look at these studies right here, smart person that we hired.
Analyst.
Public opinion is going to go down about America. It's going to go down about the president, and then productivity goes down. If you just lie about this one thing, about us going to the moon, we really can't make it, and neither can the Russians, and they know that, we know that. But if we can make them think that, we've got not Peter Jackson.
I'm sorry, Isaac, but it's a good point.
Who's the director? Not Stanley Kubrick. Oops. We got Stanley Kubrick. We got the most badass director of all time. We're going to make it look real. And we want you to be part of it. And it's not that we're not trying to subvert science or make science a joke or lie or anything, but this is for the good of mankind and for the good of science. I think that they could make a point there, but
I agree. Yeah,
you guys, this is all I got to say. I want to somehow, I know it probably never happened, but I really would like to get Brian May on here.
Who's Brian May?
You got to cut that out. Cut my son saying it.
It's Brian May. Yeah,
Brian May's a guitar player for Queen.
Well, the audience might want to know. They may not.
Okay, I'm sorry. People
okay.
don't know who Brian May is. To me, that's satanic, But you have been around people growing up, then I gotta say, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't think that's what you're saying. Okay.
No, nobody. But I'm saying though, that's certain things that's important in life, and I think knowing who the guitar player for Queen,
that would be
was,
important.
and the fact that he was, he majored in astrology.
Really?
In college, and he was going to be.
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah, and so I'm just wondering what he would say about. Okay,
that's another thing that does not make sense to me. Astrology.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It does not.
Astronomy.
Astronomy is the study of the stars, and that's legit. But astrology. Which one's the one where it's like you're a Pisces or you're a Cancer?
Oh no! That's not what it is. This is studying space, like the stars
right. That's astrology.
What chemicals? Why do we think that Jupiter's made up of these chemicals? Now I think some of that's guesswork that we don't know, but I think that even the temperatures on freaking Mercury is a question mark, and Venus. We don't know quite really, but they may know the temperatures and stuff. But I think they lie about some things, like the temperatures on Mars. I think it's much more like our climate, just almost there is what it is, and But now he thinks that the rover's out in the desert somewhere.
Not really on Mars.
It is pretty funny, like some of the pictures, like be in the desert, and then it's apparently Mars, and it's like literally the exact same picture.
Like it looks the same.
I don't know, just some of the stuff is just, come on, you know what I mean?
There's definitely a reason to fool people. There's a reason to, and I think that's why.
And I don't think we know the reason. You know what I mean? Dad always says,
right.
If the Earth was flat, why would they lie? Well, I don't think we would know why they lie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody would know.
But who's they?
Well,
the people that know the knowers.
We can all come to agreement. Just like I said last time I was on here, okay? We can all come to agreement that there's a higher up.
There is.
Okay, higher up people. I'm not going to say too much. I don't want to have to be cut. Okay? There's a higher up level of people controlling the world.
Right.
Okay? And so, with that being said, I just don't see why,
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's definitely. I want to
go ahead,
real quick and not caveat, say with that, 100% there are people with all the money that get together and they drink and they talk about just like with Dad, you and your music buddies and construction buddies and other buddies, they get together and they talk about what they're gonna do and what they can do, and people with a lot of money rub their hands together and start shit among the common folk. Mm-hmm. I mean, to put it, one way.
And I thought all that crap was bull crap until I actually started doing research about like the Rockefellers.
Oh yeah.
And that's really what got me intrigued in a lot of this. And Jackson, can we talk about the school system on here or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's one of my biggest things is the school system and how the Rockefellers actually took over it.
No shit.
Yeah, and it's all it's on the internet. I mean, it's not hid or anything like that. And pretty much
about them having such a tie on the educational system.
Common Core.
This is what they did whenever the whole United States decided to converge to one standardized learning system. Mm-hmm. They hired this just picture perfect teacher, Apple on desk, and she went around convincing everybody, all these states, hey, we're going to all go to one standard, learning
Common
system.
Core, right?
Yeah, Common Core. Mm-hmm. And this is what everybody in the United States is going to learn. Well, and this is actually 100% fact.
But see, the Common Core, I don't understand what that is.
So pretty much what happened, so she was in there for about 2 or 3 months, okay? Then it's officially documented that the Rockefeller Foundation took that over. The whole education system, yeah. And it's all on the internet. You can look it up.
Okay.
I've never heard of that. I want to dig into that.
It really is crazy to dig into because you're just sitting there thinking, okay, if the Rockefellers have so much control on the school system, You know what I mean? It just makes you wonder, how powerful are they actually?
Hey, wouldn't that be inconvenient if you were, I don't know if this is actually ties into Rockefeller, I'm like kind of an idiot there, but wouldn't it be convenient if you could convince people that gasoline came from the bones of dinosaurs?
Yeah.
So that you could make them believe it was so rare and precious.
And see, that's another thing too. You know, the Rockefellers at one point owned, I think it was something stupid, like 90% of all the oil that was being produced. Like,
And railroads,
there was like, I think, a period of 3 years that no one bought 1 gallon of kerosene, because that's what they were selling when you started out in America.
Oh yeah.
Besides John D. Rockefellers, and that made him over the top rich, not the richest man. Well, he wasn't the richest man in the world at one point, but then here come Andrew Carnegie, you know, crashing his party, you know. But I do want to say this. So you think it's all derived from evil?
yeah, in some way, form, or fashion. And
Because
I already know what you're going to say. You're going to say that John Rockefeller was a great man. Okay?
Oh, no, I'm going to say this. I didn't know him personally. The things I've read, he was a very, very hardcore Christian man and gave 10% of everything he ever made from day one to the church. When he bought that land up there in Ohio, you know, he bought 10 acres of land to drill oil. You know, he bought 10 acres of land to drill oil and gave an acre of it to the church. And when they were in the middle of church is when the first the oil well blew.
Wasn't the best trick the devil ever played convincing everybody that he was really good or whatever they say, or that he didn't exist?
Exactly.
Well, you know what? But you know what really happened and made him, because he feared God. You know, he had a dad that was not so good. You know, he had to start like a lemonade stand or cookie stand in front of his house.
Yep.
To sell, to feed his.
You know what he used to do?
He was the oldest son. I think he was the oldest son. I'm not for sure about that.
Something like that. But he would write down his amount of money that he had just in total. Whenever he's a kid, he'd keep his pocketbook, and he would write the number and he would circle it, and then he'd spend something else. So he'd draw a line, write the number he's got now, and circle it. And he did that for so long until he became rich. It really is crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
But what happened was he worked as a machinist. That's what your grandpa Springer worked at too. Grandpa worked in Michigan. He might have too. I forgot where it was, but it could have been too big of an industry, because really interchangeable parts that whole thing wasn't even invented yet.
Really?
No, Rockefeller was one of the pioneers. But what happened was, though, was he had this, you know, he's in the middle of church, and the oil well outside blew. Everybody in the church comes out, and it was destiny in his eyes that God had planned on him being someone that changed the world. But it didn't come along strong until he, you know, because, you know, Cornelius Vanderbilt had a stronghold. Him and Andrew Carnegie and I forgot the guy's name, Scott. Yeah, was his last name. Scott and Andrew Carnegie had some of the railroads, and then Vanderbilt had a majority of them. So he went to meet with Cornelius Vanderbilt, right? And when he got down the road in the coach, he realized he forgot his luggage. So he went back to his place of residence and picked up the luggage and headed out and missed the train to go see Cornelius Vanderbilt. And that train ran off freaking bridge and killed everyone in the train. And he went, God does have a plan for me. And it just fueled his fire more. I get people saying that people with money are evil because that's kind of their excuse for not doing as good or financially or whatever. I don't know.
I think there's truth to that for sure. I think there's truth to that. I think the filthy rich though getting together. I do. There's of course truth to that. But you don't think that like the richest of the rich, like Jeff Bezos. I don't want to say too many names, but the richest of the rich, like not even Jeff Bezos, but he's just up there in that bracket. Not him personally, but just people up there that you've heard, names that you've heard. Those guys are buddies. They get together these Bilderberg meetings and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's all in secret, and they have all this. They have so much money they could change your and my life through the influence of legislature.
Right.
And blah blah blah. Now, does that mean that if you're very rich that you have or that you're evil? Heck no. But it's a lot easier. No, I don't think it's maybe easier to be. It's easier to be evil in mass if you have money. Right?
Oh yeah, and see, John
Or an
Rockefeller,
influencer.
And yeah,
A big time influencer.
he was a really smart guy.
good,
though.
good word to use.
Really smart.
Yeah.
And I don't think maybe he didn't have bad intentions, but
Sorry.
pretty much what he said was, and he's pretty famous. This famous quote, you know, he said that he wanted to make a country full of workers, not a country full of thinkers that can actually think for themselves and actually say, hey, I don't want to do manual labor for the rest of my life. I want to make money for myself and become rich myself. You know, you think about it. You go to school, you learn all kinds of stuff that you will never, ever have to use again in your life. And it doesn't even make sense while you're learning it. And I always thought this when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Now that I'm older, I still think the same thing. It just makes no sense. Why'd I go to school for 12 years and not learn one thing about how to make money?
Yeah.
They might teach you how to write a check, but I mean, about actually making money.
That's funny.
There's nothing.
That's funny. They'll teach you how to
know
write a
what I
check.
mean?
Yeah, or how to do your taxes
yeah.
or save money to get yourself out of bad
because
situations.
Here's my thing. They don't teach you how to make money. They give you the tools to make money. They don't harp on that in school, but they do. They give you how you got to read. You got to be able to read. You got to be able to write. You got to be able to math. You got to be able to subtract. There's these basic things that most people is the only thing they get out of high school. They get the basics, and then most time the people who are even smart don't even have the basics very good when they get out. And it's just the truth. I'm an example of that.
Yeah.
And I'm a smart son of a bitch.
Well, you're an example of that, Dad. But maybe if the system was better, maybe somebody back then would have been like, hey, you know, Malcolm Springer the first seems to be learning a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently, and he seems to be proficient in music and the arts rather than reading and English and shit and stuff like that.
But
So maybe let's put Malcolm the first on a path to getting to where he can make the best of these tools that he has, because
I think
the same
they
way
do that, don't they? I mean, the people
same,
who are just higher in class anyway. When I was in school, went to they got the calculus classes, they got the freaking physics classes, they got the stuff like that. They got to do things that we got to do things that other kids didn't do, and I barely hit that mark. And I was smarter than any of them. It's just that, hey man, I just wasn't interested in freaking having all that bigger grades, because guess what? Because I just didn't. I didn't think I'm gonna be a doctor. I didn't have a dream of being a doctor or anything like that. I just I don't know. I was too busy. I got plenty of time thinking about that. That's what I thought, And making money though, I learned that from your Grandpa Springer. But I didn't care about making money. I just wanted people to remember my name.
Right. Well, you're a different cat, Dad. Because of where you showed up in life and where you ended up in life, you can't because there's so. I mean, so I'm not trying to say that your opinion on it matters invalid. Because
I know what you mean.
But I mean, because of the way that you trajectory in life, it's you're kind of an anomaly, and that's not me kissing my dad's ass, but that's just the reality of it. But so I think that people in your not same situation, but similar situation growing up, and then wanted to be a musician and stuff, they look at Common Core and they look at that stuff not being the only thing that failed them, but not being something that ushered them along. I was going to say, Common Core, the problem with that is the same way we were talking about earlier with people losing weight.
But
everybody loses weight different.
Common Core, guys? I don't.
It's the diet. It's the diet they're
I
giving
knew that
kids.
you had to do some of it. I knew there was some freaking things about you doing. I remember
Common Core's been
as
around.
a dad, but of course
Common Core's been around since. I'm sure that you were in Common Core as well.
No, I wouldn't anything like that.
Well, I'd be surprised.
I was born in 1970.
Right, exactly. This has been going on for a while.
I never heard of Common Core until Isaac actually started. No, maybe it was when you were in school too.
I was definitely around when I was.
I remember going. So you can have a wrong answer and it be right.
What's that?
You can have a wrong answer and it be right answer.
Are you saying that's what Common Core is?
I'm saying that's what I don't know enough about it to say anything about it. So I'm not trying to say something about something I don't know about because I don't. I'm saying that's what I had.
Dad, you're right. Interesting. Yeah, Common Core has only been out for, I guess the term Common Core has only been around since 2009.
I keep itching my nose. I itching my nose, man. We're gonna have
But
company.
I mean, anyways, my
How was
whole
Common
thing
Core?
is,
Did Common Core make it where you could have a wrong answer and still be right?
No,
No.
I think what it is it's the conglomeration of like all of the.
Explain to me.
It's basically making sure that a teacher in Oregon and a teacher in Tennessee are teaching their 9 through, whatever graders, the 12th graders, the same math, the same
The
science,
core
the
of what.
core.
That
Right,
makes sense.
right.
Okay.
Don't start teaching them about how you think the dark side of the moon is actually cheese or whatever. Teach them this stuff out of this textbook, yada yada. That's what Common Core is. I don't think it's completely nefarious, but it ignores different learners, and that's why we have private school. But not everybody can send their kid to private schools.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, if a teacher in my high school back in the day was to say that we didn't land on the moon, they would get fired and they would get ran out of town and they would be banished from our community. And that is no bullshit.
Well, that's because it's easier to have a crazy opinion.
If somebody said that to us when we were growing up,
right,
they would have had their ass kicked out. That's communism. That's being a communist. Is what they would say. In the age I grew up, you say that you're a communist. Mm-hmm. But that's not what I'm saying. You are, son, or anybody else that don't believe we land on the moon. Hell, there's other people that think we don't land on the moon either, and it's ridiculous. But that's fine. I mean, whatever. And because listen. Okay, look, and I gotta say this, because I love my friends. I love my Isaac, man. He's my heart, Oh, Sib is my soul, and you're my heart. It's right in front of him. But think about this, because Jason sends me this TikTok the other day, and I gotta laugh at you, Jason, because this is funny. Because he's an old friend, man. He's a good dude, and I can see some of his points. There are some of them that might make you lean that way a bit. But listen to this. So he's got this dang GoPro, and it's on this rocket, right, that these college kids made up. And they shoot this thing up. You see it? Mm-hmm. And it gets so far, and all of a sudden, it boom, it comes back down.
Yep.
Okay.
Hit the firmament.
Look, let me
think that's the atmosphere.
Let me explain something to you.
The glass dome.
So, but just listen. Okay. I was going to look up the map before I came. I've been trying to help Tiffany and stuff at the house with a job, and anyway, a lot of stuff like that. That's just like I've had big distractions, But I was going to look up like how much velocity per pound you had to have to crack open the shell to get out of here. Okay,
Interesting.
Because you do. You have to have a certain velocity, or if that was the case, we just get fighter jets. We make them where you can just fly them up into space.
We can break the atmosphere with certain types of fighter jets.
You can
Should be able to.
Yeah. Well, you can with a stealth or what do you call what's that thing called? Raptor. Yeah, I think it's a Raptor. I don't know. I read a little bit about it, but I didn't have time to read the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But our Raptor would get up, and then they would have to start way low. Like you'd have to start probably a mile above, sea level to get that much speed going to get out. I mean, it's like they're just not gonna fly out. I mean, that's not how it works. That's not how it works, homie.
You know what's also weird to me though? So it's pretty much a fact that we recovered alien spacecraft, right?
Right.
Pretty much the fact that we reverse engineered it, right?
Right.
So why aren't we using that technology?
We are, buddy.
I understand, but why aren't we going more often?
You notice that the thing about it is, I don't think that we know or have these same elements that those fellas have, and they may even be those elements may still come from Earth. Just we haven't found them yet because they're in Antarctica or they're somewhere where
Nazis stole them.
They've been here. They've been here for thousands and thousands of years. They're, in my opinion, not all aliens or whatever you want to call them are the Watchers. I think there's Watchers here, but I think there's many more species. The guy from Colombia that was he was the head of the military, all the military. He was there. He was their head of their military for years. Mm-hmm. Went and testified in front of Congress that that we had, from what he sees, 21 species of aliens living among us. They are not from here. they're from other planets. There's the white talls. There's all these ones he named. But what they know for sure is that there's 4 or 5 species that are really among us. Like there's a lot of them, and they live among us, and they act like we do. They do their thing, but they know they're not from here, and their kids know they're from here, and that's that stuff right there. When a man that's like that high up in power goes on there, and let me tell you something. There's one thing I know for sure: our Congress isn't putting on a show, and they're not actors. I mean, it's real. So you got to ask yourself, there's white talls. They even work for the government. Now, I saw some stuff when Barack Obama was in there that was real fishy. And you saw that, didn't you? When there was two Secret Service guys, and I mean
that were weird looking, like look like aliens.
You saw them like on camera,
like shapeshift.
On surveillance cameras. I mean,
and one's looking like this.
They changed in their face
back and forth. It's kind of creepy.
They changed from one guy to another. Period. I mean, just completely different face.
What it looks like to me, man, is like they just look like their face doesn't have any detail. And I've seen like camera things. It could be something with like the low light and stuff, but it does look very, very, very.
Both of them did it,
odd.
and they did it at different times, and it was on the same security camera. And here's the thing, everybody looks at that because it's in the movies or whatever. Well, also Close Encounters. I mean, that was a movie, and man, I mean, when they announced that they have gotten alien aircraft, in their possession, or they've got aircraft from that's not earthly, or I forgot how he said it. Can you look that up, Jackson? He never talks to me. Jackson's mad at me about everything. Everybody's mad at me. I'm kind of grumpy today. I kind of partied last night as much as Dad can party. You know what I mean? Which isn't very much. I was going to actually smoke some wacky tobacco last night, and Tiffany fell asleep. I was like, well, I'll be dang. What did I ask him? I feel like an old man now. What was the thing? The Pentagon announced something in the middle of the election that they had in their possession alien aircraft or aircraft that was not from this world.
They did that recently.
That's my thing.
That was during the
they're open about it though.
The Biden and Trump election. What's that?
I don't understand why they'll say that, but like not actually show the public what's going on. I guess not. I don't know.
Well, the scary thing is about that. If it's true, then a lot of things that happened with Adolf Hitler make sense because that crash happened pre Roswell over there, and there is footage of it. Now, how much of it? I don't know, but you can see the craft has crashed or whatever it is. And it doesn't look like something we fucking, it didn't have no big old engine on it.
Well,
it looked pretty messed. It looked pretty. It's a black and white. Man, who sent that to me? That might have been Warren Century. Nicholas Warren Century, the guy right, hands out with us. He was gonna come over last night. I was trying to get him to come over last night. He didn't. So I knew Tiffany's gonna go sleep. I was like, man, I won't stay up and hang out, man. I ain't got nobody to hang out with. Get your ass over here. No, but I think it was him who showed. I think it was him. Now hang on here. I'm thinking. But I saw a video of it that's online, and it shows those Russians. Oh yeah, it crashed in the Black Forest. It was TJ who sent me that. Well, I shouldn't say them two birds at the same time. I don't think they like each other. but anyway, they love each other. Just one of them quarrels. But it was in the Black Forest, and it happened 10 years or something. No, it was when Hitler was in there. Anyway, they were back engineering that, and it would make sense because of the Glocko, whatever you call it, the Glocko. You know what I'm talking about?
Glockle?
No.
Yeah, the Glocko. It's that bell-shaped thing that they disappeared after the war. They had already invented an anti-gravity thing with the Mercury. Says all the things. It shows the diagrams of it. But what's messed up is they said it was also had to do with time travel, and that thing landed in Warrensburg, Pennsylvania. I'm saying all these names I don't know exactly. In Pennsylvania, one came down. It looked just like what was described, and people think that the bell came in, but the bell wasn't supposed to fly by itself. The bell was inside this thing that looked like a UFO. So anyway, so those guys, they had the one up on everybody technology in the war and still lost because of because of the determination of America. Determined to go to the moon first. Determined to help other people, other countries when it's none of
to go to the moon first.
When it's none of the damn business. No, but we went to the moon, but I love you, son. We went to the moon. Son, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. You were little.
That's what he says every time. Every time. Every time. That's what he says.
But I've said that to Sib too along the years. Like, son,
I was gonna say I've heard that a couple times.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, you little boy. Something happened. I wasn't there. I mean. all right. Look, listen. We're never going to agree on the moon landing, even though you can go to Huntsville and see the actual craft that came in, and you can see the actual.
All right. But answer this question.
But why in the world would they do all that?
Would it be possible to fake it though? Would it be possible?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
They've proven it's possible to fake.
Very possible.
But you got 100,000 people that work for NASA that's actors. Building stuff to fake
they proved it wouldn't take that
to make people think the Earth is flat for no apparent reason. I believe that there's billions of freaking other civilizations, and they're just as advanced, or if not more advanced, than we are out there, because there's trillions and trillions and trillions of stars, and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of planets, and they're all revolving around suns. And there's if it was a low number, we would be talking millions. So if it was like 1% of one, if it was 0.000.2, it would be millions. Okay, so whoever you gotta kind of go. Hang on here, but it does not affect my faith in my spiritual life at all. Matter of fact, it makes me know that God is bigger than what everybody thinks he is, and that he's a multitasker, a big multitasker. I think God can multitask because he's handling all this shit down here, and it ain't easy to keep these humans straight. Anyway, how can your dad be from another planet and you not believe in there's planets out there? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I think it's good to be skeptical, and I think it's good to explore why.
I could just see it. I'm not saying that I know for sure the Earth's flat or nothing like that, but I definitely see that side where those people come from.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just says it's flat to get to me. It gets me worked up.
Yeah. You got to say it's flat to get to the rest of the day.
Because he wants me to say sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you.
It is pretty funny.
I didn't get. I'm sorry. I didn't get that first fish off your hook like I should have. Actually, no, was you? I got your first fish off your hook.
Oh, God.
Either that or Mike. Anyway, the whole point is look, guys. There's pictures of the Earth from space.
All right, move on. Move on to the next one.
No,
move on.
Hey, so
what else?
Hey, Steve, this is what's funny though. I gotta say this one thing, and then we're gonna get off of it.
All right.
Okay, so him and Jay, Jason's on here, and they're like, man, they got ours at NASA. They can make that thing look like that. I'm like, okay, if I was to pull down my drawers right now, and Tiffany take a picture of it, but just Tiffany. Take a picture of my ass, and we're going to show that on national TV. Don't you think we'd get a little Photoshop going and touch her up a little bit, maybe take her whole look better,
See, I don't know.
Just like you would when you get your dang.
In nature, if it's nature and natural geographic formations, I'd want to rather see it with all its imperfections.
Yeah.
No, but that's not what's going on, though, son. What's going on is when they take a picture of the Earth or the Moon or whatever, they may freaking just make it look a little better because the guy who took it taking pride in his work, and they use Photoshop on stuff. It's not because he's changing the entire landscape. That's like going, hey, now I've seen some high school pictures of some women, though, or some regular pictures of women that got a photographer got a hold of it, and it doesn't look a damn thing like them. Them are ugly as hell, and the photographer gets a hold of it and makes them look good, but you can tell it's the same girl.
But if space is
because
ugly,
no, it's not. You're going to be a photographer. You're going to be someone who takes a picture. You're going to touch it up and make it look good.
But if keep my planets ugly.
I feel like it would be so easy to just create space though, just like a black screen and then just dot dot
Hey,
dot 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 dot.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
I can tell you, like
How would that be easy, son?
I feel like it'd be pretty easy.
Well, and to project. Well, are you saying to project it in the sky, or like
Just to make a picture?
Right. If you had to put
Yeah.
something up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying.
So you're going to tell Neil deGrasse Tyson that
No, I would never tell him that.
that space.
I would never argue about space with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Look, and you know what? Maybe I will. Jason O swears I won't be a flat earther before long. It ain't gonna be but about another month. I will completely know that the Earth is flat.
Well,
I will have converted. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Oh,
But
no.
that
if
doesn't
the
matter.
Earth is flat, we got to try to get to the edge, guys.
Oh, we'll get shot before we get there.
You think so?
Oh
yeah.
God!
Why would we get shot before we get to the
Well,
edge?
nobody's allowed in Antarctica.
You know, son.
That is true.
Sib, didn't you know that people that go for a job interview at NASA gets threatened to die if they tell everybody it's not real?
Not everyone.
Look. I know.
Dad's over there helping their case.
I
He's obviously being
know.
paid.
No. Look,
Yeah, he's been.
He's obviously
I
getting the
know.
talk.
I know that I lied to y'all about Santa Claus. Okay. We all know I did, and I'm sorry.
You ruined a lot of kids' dreams right there that are listening.
Oh,
to the
they'll be
podcast.
all right, man.
I'm gonna have to cut that one out.
No,
Kids don't listen.
Santa Claus. It's so funny because Miss Ann Walsh sent me this thing on Santa Claus, St. Nicholas. And there was a St. Nicholas that was a very awesome, it was a saint, But then there's the real Santa Claus that everything came from.
he
The
ate
St.
people.
Nicholas that they called him St. Nicholas, but he was a monk. He wasn't a saint.
Didn't he eat babies or something?
And
Or was that
he
Krampus?
killed so many kids. He was a mass
Yeah.
murderer, and
Yeah.
he let them out into the woods
Yeah.
with
Like
with,
a Pied
I think-
Piper.
Yeah, with a Pied
Type
Piper
thing.
type of guy, and he tied them up and freaking some of them he then killed, some of them he starved to death, some of them he burned to death, some of them he just loved killing kids,
Yep.
and that's who brings our kids Christmas presents. But now it's good to say that the other Saint Nicholas, there was another Saint Nicholas, or he was,
There's a lot of European folklore fucked or messed up.
Well, it makes sense though, because if you go, hey, you better not pout, you better not cry, you better not shout. I'm telling you why, Santa Claus, because they would tell the kids, they would tell the kids that Santa Claus, that Saint Nicholas was going to show up if they didn't behave, and he would take them out in the woods and he'd kill them. So you better watch it. He's watching you all the time.
Why don't you just do that to our little brothers?
He's watching
and
you.
sisters?
He's watching you all the time from the woods. He's watching you from the woods, and he will. He hears everything. They made him out to be a superhuman guy like we do, that can fly across the world and deliver everybody presents on one day. And how
He's doing it to kill. He's doing it to.
well, what he did.
I know it's real. I know what
the
you're saying.
Saint
It's just
Nicholas
funny.
that did kill everybody. I don't think it was Saint Nicholas, but it turned into Saint Nicholas because of the saint. You know what I'm saying? It was his real name, whatever that. I can't remember what was
Christopher? No.
Yeah.
What was it? Saint
Yeah,
Christopher?
yeah, no, it was
Or Chris Kringle?
his last name. Was,
I don't know.
Chris Kringle. I don't know.
his last name was. You know what? I will look into that for our next Springer talk.
Okay.
Every time I say Chris Kringle, I want a Krispy Kreme donut.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought.
Every time I think that little Keebler dude like walking in here like doing some kind of
Yeah.
jig,
Oh, Keebler.
You know what I'm saying? Don't y'all look at that? Don't y'all think that? Anyway,
What else we
that's
got?
pretty funny. Okay, listen, man, what the hell is going on with Alex Jones, man? We talked about it some, but man, is he out of his mind, man? I mean, he's lost it.
I think he's intelligent.
I think he's really intelligent too, but man, he must have a lot of money, guys.
Yeah.
He's getting sued. All them people
Yeah.
suing for that.
He has some
I think
balls on him.
Yeah, he definitely.
I'll say that.
He definitely does.
To sneak into a place that he snuck into, like, and I feel like some people take it as a joke, but I mean, he like seriously snuck in there. You know what I mean? Could have got killed.
Snuck in where?
Well, so at the Bohemian Grove, they actually used to let people watch. They actually used
really?
to get before he's actually in there, and he's hiding because he has his big ass video camera from the 90s. You know.
Yeah.
They actually let people watch the cremation of.
There you go. I can hear you now when you're on the microphone.
It's called the cremation of care And what's so interesting about the cremation of care is that these men with power, presidents, senators, whatever, are burning this effigy that looks like a baby or that looks like a child. And it's called the cremation of care, like they're not caring anymore.
Oh, y'all talking about
Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove.
Yeah. But Alex Jones, they don't let people in there anymore. Did you ever see him?
How did he get in there though? He go around and boat. He go to boat and then...
No. They let people in to watch it, but you weren't allowed to record it. They actually used to have people watch because it's a play. They actually put it on for people to watch, but you weren't allowed to record it.
Are they really worshiping an owl?
No, I think what they're doing is
it's. I forget what it's called. The owl is supposed to symbolize something. I forget what it is.
The owl doesn't it symbolize?
It might be like the goddess or goddess something. I don't know. Something weird.
Well, there's owls
something
on the dollar bills and stuff. Owl
Yeah, it's weird.
And Masons use owls too on that certificate that you gave me of Grandpa's. It's got owls in the corners and there's owls.
Okay.
Yeah, hidden in like the.
But
like around
and I also do believe that the Masons and what we're talking about with Bohemian Grove, that's two completely different things. Because like Dad was saying, Grandpa and Uncle Mackie being Masons, and heck, I knew a couple guys I worked with that were Masons, and really good people, some of the best people you'll ever meet. And I think, maybe the highest up Mason, maybe something weird's going on there, but
Ain't nothing going on.
the local Masons, those are good people. They have nothing to do with anything evil or nothing like that. I do agree.
All the money. I think if they get up there and there's a bunch of money hanging out, and I don't think that there is with Masons, but that's anytime there's nefarious crap going on in organizations like that with secretiveness. I think having secretiveness in a private organization, not government, is fine. Because things like a man thing.
That leads to rumors.
Exactly.
Like I said about
you kind of want it, right?
Me and Jackson and Jason Schreck were in a fraternity, and that fraternity has secrets. We have a ton of secrets. We there's certain things that we say to each other to make sure that we're who we say we are.
Yeah.
And it freaks you out when somebody pulls out the card on you because you're like, I've never. There was one that happened not long ago. And I was, we were in front of people, and he said the words, and I'm like, really? Okay. Well, I said the words back, and I just felt like it was like something he had heard. Somebody had gave away a secret or something. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. It was just hard for me to believe he was a Pike,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, but like with all my other people. But anyway. Secret societies are going to have people say bad things about. They said bad things about Pike House when I was in Cape Girardeau when I was growing up. Then we had a lodge, and it looked like a freaking Satanist church, but it was a party place. It was fun, man. I mean, it was. But I'm saying if it's a secret society or something that people have, I just think people just say things to. I mean, look how dramatic people just say things to somebody that goes to another, goes to another, goes to another. At the end, they're not even saying the same thing.
That is true, but I think it's just way too obvious not to sit there and think, okay, the highest up people in the world, the richest people, whoever's actually running the world, they definitely meet and come together and they say, okay, this is what's going to happen here. Okay, this who's going to be the president. Okay, I 100% believe that. 100%.
I believe, though, son, and both of you, but listen to me. When you have that much money and you're from that kind of family, imagine hanging out with people like us. We're not like poor. I'm a poor man. No, but I'm saying, though, you live a different kind of life. You want to be around those people. There's certain things. Take for instance, here's a funny story, but a very good example. So me and Junior, this happened not long ago too. This was like a year ago. So we go to St. Louis to see this band play, and he rides up there with me. He's been to many showcases with me, right? Been to many showcases with me. Son, this is the funniest thing you've ever heard. I'm not going to say the band's name, but we saw the band that I went up there to see, and I thought, I like them, but man, they got a long ways to go. Good musicians, good singer, but I could tell by looking at them that there's going to be some attitude involved. So I'm going to shut this down right now. I'm either going to do the record or I don't want to do it. I don't care how much money you got. I ain't going through a bunch of bullshit, a bunch of clowns.
Yeah.
So, every song was way too long. So I'm like fucking just dying trying to get through this, right? Well, this other band that kind of blowing up at the time was playing the headline, right? Well, I can't say much of y'all would know. Everybody know who it is, but put it this way, they were terrible. Okay, so me and Junior has been to New York to see shows, L.A. to go see shows. We've been to Chicago. Me and Junior has literally drove all over the United States to watch rock bands showcase. Mm-hmm. Because he's one of my best friends, and I like taking him because he's fun to ride with. We talk about the time because we are the same age, so we have a lot in common. Things were just different back then.
Yeah.
Listen. So after the band that I saw the showcase here started this other band. And it was terrible. But they were saying things that was weird. I've never been so embarrassed in my life to be a white person.
What were they saying?
Because I was thinking Junior probably is thinking to himself, this is what white people do when black people are around. It was like, kind of, it was like satanic and terrible.
Yeah.
All at the same time. Well, the band, of course, they didn't go very far. But anyway, the whole point is they were big there for a second and just dropped off. The point is he could have looked at that and went, what the hell? He could have thought that they worship Satan, but he didn't think that at all. He just thought this is a bunch of, these are crazy white people. Because
hopefully so.
It was, I was embarrassed. I told him, and we got in a limo, and I looked at him. I said, dude, because they came pick us up in a limo, took us to the freaking hotel. Yeah. It was freaking ridiculous. But here's what's really bad, because y'all know me. I stick my foot in my mouth all the time. So I get in the limousine, right? And I'm in the Junior get in the limousine, and we're sitting in the very back, and I go, man, that band sucked. They were terrible. I'm like going off about how bad. Did you see that? Did you see that? And I look up at the freaking thing, and the limo was theirs.
Oh man!
They planned to get me there, talk to me about doing a record, and the manager did come over and talk to me about a couple times and introduce himself, and he was a really nice guy and everything. But sure as hell, they were trying. They wanted me there. The club owners just had the other band as a patsy, so they could get me there to see them. And I made it through a song and a half, and I said, Junior, we're out here. He goes, man, come on, man, I'm drinking, man, we're having fun. I'm like, dude, I can't handle it. I can't handle the music. He said, man, it's pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad. But anyway, so you see how people just, though, like Junior could have looked at that as a Satanist thing easy. See, some things are not what they say they are, and then some things are. But I think if it was really like a Satanist type thing or some kind of freaking ritual that gave them power of the blood and all that kind of stuff like that, I think that we wouldn't know about it. I think they would keep that pretty secret. But I'm just saying, they wouldn't do that out in the open.
I mean, they did cover it up pretty good with the Epstein stuff, you know what I mean? The list should have been released. All the famous and richest people in the world,
God,
but of course that's not going to be released. You know what I mean? And that right there, and the Hemingway stuff, that's just enough for me to be like, okay,
that's a good counter.
Well, this is obviously what's going on. I mean, to me, it's just plain
I think there's a lot of people who know about a lot of people that aren't nearly that rich that wind up dead. It just so happen they just get fed up at that night and hang themselves in a freaking place that's guarded, and somebody watching them, trying to get them to making sure they're on suicide watch and everything. I mean, the whole thing is that because people like to point the finger at Hillary. What do y'all think about that?
About Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to say Hillary Clinton.
I think that if I were very rich and I had no morality at all, the first thing I would do is I'd go, okay, my constituents are mostly going to be men, so I have no morality or gumption in life or whatever the words you want to say. I'm a scumbag, so I'm going to do what I know is going to work on men, and that is get women for it. You know what I'm saying? That is
right.
And the younger you can make them, the more you can blackmail people. And so, and as simple as that, I really think that is
that true though? They got those men in rooms with those underage girls.
Imagine a girl that, I don't want to go into the wrong thing here, But like you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're not necessarily a bad guy. Maybe you have a lot of money. You get invited to this place with all the richest people are there. You're there, and then they introduce you to this girl that's just super drop dead gorgeous. You're some dumb doofus that not dumb doofus, but you're some like
you're a guy that ain't got much taters.
Exactly that. You're a guy that's not been. Yeah. Maybe that's the case. Maybe not. Either way, men's minds go to mush in that way, and then whatever happens, and the lights turn on, and Jeffrey Epstein's there, and she's like, "Hey, guess what, buddy? She was 16 years old, and if you do one thing wrong that I don't want you to do, I'm going to tell everybody."
Guys, y'all know Dad has been a rough one. I've lived a rough one, and being a rock producer wasn't that part of it. It was other parts of my life that I lived kind of rough, and I hung out in some rough places to find some great bands. That's just the truth about it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a little fun, and some of the guys that were kind of they wasn't as fun anyway. But I have hung out with some really, really, really what people would say were not very good people, that were the lowest. And when I say lowest, me knowing I'm hanging out with them, knowing that they're in a gang or whatever, a part of some organization that you don't mess with, and that they probably have shot a few people and they probably have gotten away with it. Yeah. But not one have I ever hung out with, ever, that I thought would kidnap a kid or a woman or do any harm to anybody like that and take somebody away from their family. Not one. So that throws a flag up for me on the whole simulation. That there's some of a simulation, I think, but it's funny that the missing people in America really does go along with the cave systems in our country.
Yeah, that is kind of
wherever there's a missing person, there's a cave system real close. I mean, you can see the whole thing. Have you ever seen the map?
I have, and I haven't noticed very many around Tennessee or Kentucky.
Oh God, it's mostly Tennessee and Kentucky and freaking
the missing.
It goes right. Hey, can you pull up? I know we've done this before on the podcast, but if you haven't seen the other podcasts, or if you have, you're going to see it again. The missing persons to cave system map. It will floor you. I'm gonna pull it up on here.
That'd be nuts to be.
Oh, it'll floor you. You know what it'll do? It'll make you realize that that maybe we're blaming other humans and we shouldn't be. I mean, I'm serious, because if we can fake a moon landing, we sure can fake that. Know what I'm saying?
There it is, right
there. Look here. Look, can you make it bigger, Jackson? Unless it gets blurry. It looks like it's not got anything in Tennessee, but up in Knoxville.
Isn't that all of those? There's another map. I mean, is the red where people are missing?
I think so. And I think that because I've seen one recently. Look how in the middle of the United States there is nobody.
Nope, because you know why?
Nobody. And then over there in the desert, there's nobody.
Because there's no cave systems there.
But, I mean, are there cave systems around? Because what this looks like to me is
he didn't pull up the right map. That's a missing person's map. He needs to pull up the cave systems versus missing persons.
Missing 411, huh?
Well, the map I always see is two maps. There's one map that shows you the missing persons,
and you're talking about
another map that shows you the cave systems, and then you go, "Oh God, they're all the same."
Are you talking about the Can-Am missing 411? Have you ever heard of that guy's channel? Oh man, that John Solitis. He's real playing. Oh man, I don't want to start talking about him too much, but he's got an amazing podcast where he covers different missing people every single week.
That's a good one right there.
Okay, this looks like it makes more sense because I can see the caves from here.
Yeah,
that's crazy how our two states have got the caves pretty much, and then it goes up into the damn New England.
I'm pulling up in here so you can see it closer. Here you go. Here it is. Like this makes it a lot more clear. It's hard to see from in here. That makes it a lot more clear. And that's unreal. And we can cut to that, Jackson.
I've never seen that in Tennessee before.
That is pretty crazy.
So Jackson was showing us this map, right? And that's which one's which. Or maybe he was showing us both overlaid with each other. Anyway, not to brag on Jackson. I'm just saying it's confusing to me because this is.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I do too. Let's take a break for a second. I got to smoke and go to the bathroom.